The concrete doors slammed shut with a heavy echo, sealing a man inside a cell so small he could stretch out his arms and almost touch both walls. This was ADX Florence, America's most secure prison, known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Here, men disappeared into silence, locked away in concrete boxes where the sun barely touched their faces. The shocking part? Even the most dangerous criminals in the country, the ones who once terrified entire cities, were now reduced to shadows of themselves, isolated, silenced, and nearly forgotten. The prison wasn't just a building. It was a machine designed to control every second of a person's life. But the question that haunted guards and inmates alike was chilling. If this fortress was built to never fail, what would happen if it did? The story begins years earlier, when the government first decided that no ordinary prison could handle the nation's most violent and cunning criminals. Regular maximum security prisons had already seen riots, daring escapes, and even murders carried out inside their walls. ADX Florence was meant to end all of that. No more gang leaders sending orders outside. No more escapes through tunnels or bribes. This place would be the last stop where prisoners were locked away so tightly that they would never see freedom again. From the outside, ADX looks like a fortress sitting in the Colorado desert, surrounded by tall fences, razor wire, and watchtowers. The prison was built with only one goal: complete control. Inside, prisoners spend 23 hours a day locked in cells made of concrete and steel. Even their windows are designed so they can't see the mountains around them, only a slice of the sky. It's a place that breaks down even the strongest men. But for the guards who worked inside, ADX Florence was more than just another job. They had to keep order in a place where every prisoner dreamed of break-ins. Free, even though escape was said to be impossible. Guards moved carefully through heavy steel doors, each one buzzing shut behind them, never forgetting that the men inside were smart, dangerous, and patient. All it would take was one mistake for something to go terribly wrong. One of those prisoners was Michael Torres, a former gang leader from Chicago. On the outside, his name had meant fear. Inside ADX, his world had shrunk to a concrete cell and a steel door. He couldn't see his gang, couldn't run his empire, couldn't even talk to other prisoners face to face. Yet, even from inside his cell, whispers began to spread. Torres hadn't given up. He was planning something. At first, the guards ignored the rumors. After all, ADX had never had a successful escape. Every corridor was lined with cameras, every movement tracked, and every meal slid through a narrow slot in the door. But then, something strange happened. During a routine check, one guard noticed a hair-thin crack in the metal frame of Torres's cell door, something no one could explain. Had the steel actually weakened? Or was someone on the inside helping him? Before anyone could answer, alarms suddenly blared through the prison. Red lights flashed across the concrete hallways, and guards rushed toward Torres's block. Something had gone very, very wrong. And in that instant, ADX Florence, the most secure prison in America, no longer felt unbreakable. The sirens screamed through the corridors, echoing off the concrete walls like a warning from the building itself. Guards slammed shut security gates, their radios buzzing with urgent orders. The red lights strobed in every hallway, making the prison look like it was on fire. Inmates pounded on their doors, shouting and laughing as the chaos grew. But inside cell 213, Michael Torres sat perfectly still, a faint smirk spreading across his face. Somehow, the most dangerous man in the block had managed to shake the fortress. Officers rushed in, weapons ready, their boots hitting the ground in unison. "Check Torres, now!" one of the supervisors barked. 2 guards reached his door, their hearts pounding. The thin crack in the steel frame had widened. It wasn't much, barely enough to notice, but in a place like ADX Florence, even the smallest weakness could be deadly. The guards yanked the door open, pulling Torres out. He didn't fight, didn't argue. Instead, He stared straight at them with a look that made their stomachs twist. "This place isn't as strong as you think," he said calmly. The word sent a chill down the hallway. While Torres was dragged to a different unit, the prison went into full lockdown. Every inmate was ordered to stay flat on the floor of their cells. Food service stopped. Yard time was cancelled. ADX had become even quieter than usual, a tomb sealed even tighter. But the fear wasn't just about Torres anymore. The warden knew something most of the staff didn't. ADX Florence had been built to be perfect, but it was already over 20 years old. Metal rusts, concrete cracks, locks fail, and in a place filled with criminals who had nothing but time, even the smallest flaw could turn into a plan. For the next week, every inch of Torres's block was inspected, ears drilled into the walls, tested the steel, and replaced parts of the doors. Yet no one could explain how the crack had appeared in the first place. Some guards swore Torres had been tampering with the door, using hidden tools smuggled in. Others whispered that maybe someone from the inside had helped him. But why? Who would risk their life to aid a man like Torres? The tension built each day. Guards patrolled with their hands on their weapons. Prisoners pressed their ears to the slots in their doors, desperate for information. Everyone in ADX could feel it. Something was happening beneath the surface, something bigger than just a cracked door. Then, one night, as the desert outside lay silent under the stars, another alarm erupted. This time, it wasn't Torres's cell. It was Block D, nearly half a mile away. Cameras caught a prisoner attempting something no one thought possible. He had reached the razor-sharp outer fence of the exercise yard. The guards sprinted, sirens blazing, floodlights bathing the prison in white. The man stood there, his orange jumpsuit glowing under the lights, just inches from freedom. His hands were bloodied, his face pale, but his eyes were wild with hope. And then he ran. The chase had begun inside the escape-proof prison. Floodlights swept across the yard as guards shouted, their boots pounding the ground. The prisoner, bleeding and desperate, sprinted toward the last layer of razor wire. He leapt, grabbing the fence, but the steel tore into his hands. Sirens wailed louder, the night sky flashing red and white. For a moment, it looked like he might actually make it. America's escape-proof prison shaken to its core. But then, the sound of gunfire cracked the air. Warning shots hit the dirt near his feet. The prisoner froze, panting, his body trembling as guards closed in. He had made it farther than anyone ever thought possible, but freedom was still out of reach. Within seconds, he was tackled, his orange jumpsuit dragged into the dirt as handcuffs snapped tight around his wrists. The yard fell silent, the sirens slowly dying down. ADX. Florence had survived the test, but not without exposing its greatest secret. For the first time, the world realized the fortress wasn't perfect. And inside those walls, dozens of other prisoners were already thinking the same dangerous thought. If he almost made it, maybe I can too.